Welcome to the Meadowlands. Bob Mark says, join me, Bob Heyden. We're here, and we're going to be talking about Meadow Skipper. That's right. For those of you who don't know Meadow Skipper, this is probably the most important stallion in the history of the sport and a great racehorse, too. Bob Marks, what's going on tonight with you in the book signing?
Well, basically, Meadow Skipper, the incredible thing is you will not find a pacing horse anywhere in this country that does not have at least one, if not multiple, crosses to him. Meadow Skipper probably revolutionized the pacing breed. I watched just about all of his races. He was one of the greatest horses I ever saw, and he became a monumental stallion. So we wound up basically Victoria Howard, my partner, she wrote the book Roosevelt Raceway, where it all began. Last year at Sunshine Meadows in Florida, we talked a little bit, and we just decided, well, we'll write a book together.
Okay. Now, when Charlie Learson did a book on Dan Patch, that was so long ago, obviously he never saw him race. Your book is a little different. Not only did you see him race, but you also wrote back then that you had a strong indication, I don't have the exact quote, that he would make an excellent and an impact sire. Tell us about that.
Well, basically, it was his heart. I don't want to give away too much of the book, although I could tell you this, that the horse was almost gelded as a 2-year-old.
Okay.
Only because he sulked a lot and Del Miller didn't think very much of him. However, as a 3-year-old, he probably was the gamest or the most courageous horse I've ever seen.
Now, Frank Irvin had him, Meadow Skipper, right?
No, Earl Avery.
I'm sorry, Earl Avery. So you had experience, but you had a lot of experience there too. How key was that to have an older horseman in charge?
Basically, I think Skipper will tell you that himself. If John Campbell or Buddy Gilmore had driven him, he probably would have won a lot more races. He probably would have went much faster, but we never really would have seen what the horse was, because they would have driven him in their typical finesse style. Earl Avery was the only one to use the expression crazy enough to actually be scraping the outside fence at Roosevelt and Yonkers, going 5 wide around turns.
So tell us what's going on now. You have the book here. If you can pick up that book for us there. Meadow Skipper book, The Untold Story, is on sale tonight. Now, you're going to be signing from 6:30 to 9:30. Where are you going to be?
Oh, we're right adjacent to the giveaway, to the T-shirt giveaway.
Okay, so you come on down. How does this work now? You got to buy a book, you get it signed. Tell us the particulars.
Oh, basically, you buy the book, we'll sign it, and it's yours. And we hope everybody enjoys it.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. We had a $2 million race, the first one in history back in 1980. 12-horse field won by land grant. Every horse in the race for $2 million was a direct descendant of Meadow Skipper. Son, grandson, or great-grandson. That is almost impossible to believe that a horse could be that dominant in that kind of stage, but he did.
Actually, yes, it is hard to believe, but as I said, you will not find a horse that does not have at least 7 or 5 crosses to Meadow Skipper. A pacing horse. Yes, trotters, no. But you'll find pacing horses. There is not one in this country that does not have multiple crosses to Meadow Skipper.
Okay, Meadow Skipper was a sire of sires. Albatross, maybe his most famous son, was not a sire of sires. Why not?
Albatross, actually, you'd have to go back to Adios. Albatross and Adios are very similar, because all of their sons, each one of them, Niatros or Adios Butler, you could go on, each one of the sons, the first 2 or 3 crops were excellent, and then they just seemed to peter out. It's like Niatros, his first crop was one of the greatest crops of all time. By his 4th or 5th crop, they were having problems. I don't know the genetic reason for it, but both Adios and Albatross became excellent broodmare sires. And in fact, like in today's contemporary breeding, you'll see so many horses either by Western Hanover or Arts Place or from Arts Place mares. Both Western Hanover and Arts Place are from Albatross mares.
So you have the Meadow Skipper, Albatross, Niatros, Annihilator line. Did it end right there?
It may be somewhat. There may be one someplace, but no. Everything, Most Happy Fella really swamped Albatross as far as that's concerned. You'll find, you could look at today's program, I could probably cite maybe 20 horses on the card that probably have dual close-up crosses the Most Happy Fella, either through Western Hanover or Cam's Card Shark.
You know, what was the atmosphere when Meadow Skipper retired? I know, I remember when Secretariat raced, they had shares after his 2-year-old season, before he even raced, $190,000 each. It was all based on performance at 3. Was there a lot of hoopla when Meadow Skipper retired?
No, he probably had one of the worst opening crop books of all time. I think the first crop numbered 29. Fortunately, Most Happy Fella was in that first crop. Oh, there he is. Most Happy Fella was in that first crop, and you had 2 or 3 other very good horses like Ideal Donut and Sir Carlton. Now, Ideal Donut was out of a mare named by Spencer Tell, who nobody's ever heard of. Sir Carlton was out of a trotting bred mare by Faber Hanover.
When you first get the notion to write a book, and now tonight when you're signing, how much time has elapsed from the first moment until now?
We started the book, I would say, February. We were done with it in 2 months. And then, of course, it has to go to the publishers. Then they have to send it back for editing, and it takes another 2 or 3 months for that to happen. We're now planning our second, third, and fourth books.
One of the greatest performers from Meadow Skipper line was Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, tell us about him.
Genghis Khan was a good older horse. He was not a good sire. His problem was, and probably due to his the Robin Dundee part, which that was his dam. She was by Hal Triax, and they were late developing lines. Genghis Khan himself was not going to fit the U.S. Need for 2- and 3-year-old speed.
Yeah.
Genghis Khan was a great 6-year-old, but historically, a lot of horses that are great 6-year-olds, and you throw What a Baron into that, and even 4-Star Shark, they don't necessarily become great sires of colts.
You're not just a harness racing guy either. I saw in the bio it said lyricist, poet. Let's see, you went into the Hall of Fame this year. Do you have anything on the horizon for 2016 you want to let us in on early here, maybe?
Yeah, basically, no, Victoria and I, we actually are committed to do 3 new books.
3 new books? Okay.
3 new books. One of them is going to be about Foiled Again.
Okay.
And the title is going to be The Standardbred Seabiscuit.
Oh, great. Okay, we'll like that.
Then we're going to do the sequel to the Meadow Skipper book, which is about Most Happy Fella.
Okay.
And we have a commitment with George Teague to do a book on Wiggle It, Jiggle It. However, we're not going to jinx the horse because he's going to come back and race next year. So therefore, we'll get started as to his story up until his 3-year-old year, but we're not going to release anything until he's further into his campaign.
Bob Marks, most times when you go in the Hall of Fame, the career is winding down. Yours seems like it's got a rejuvenation factor here, the Fountain of Youth. Thanks so much for the book. Get back over there and start signing some books. Good luck. Good luck with the next books. And hopefully Meadow Skipper will sell well. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this.